Hello, hello, hello. Hey, friends. Svava Brooks here. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for stopping by. I am a trauma recovery coach, and I love to hang out here on Periscope and YouTube Tuesdays and Thursdays with my fellow survivor thrivers as we work our way through my book, Releasing Your Authentic Self, one day, one page at a time. Yep, 365 days. We're almost there, guys. Woohoo! If you're here with us live, then please say hello. Please let me know that you're here so I can welcome you and celebrate you. Let me know where you're from. And if you want to learn more about some of the coaching that I offer, please visit my website, svavabrooks.com. And there you can learn about my one-on-one coaching and also some of the groups that I love to facilitate and support. So how are you today, my friends? How are you, Wanda? Good to see you. What's new and good? Hey, Rob, how you been? You've been watching you on, was it Facebook? I saw your video. You've been watching a puppy for your friend. How cute is that? Hey, Sue, how are you? Wanda, you're picking on Rob. Hey, Ricky. Hey, friend. How are you doing? How you been, my friend? It's been a slow-moving day for me. I have to be honest with you guys. Yes, she is cute. She is cute. I told you guys on Tuesday, as soon as I was done with our live stream, I packed up and hit the road. And I was doing a training in the Dalles. I still don't know how to pronounce certain things around here in Oregon. But I was doing a training all day yesterday for darkness to light, and not to be whining or complaining, but on my feet for 8 hours, holding a space, teaching. It was a lot of work. Exactly. And if you saw my little live on Instagram yesterday, I shared that I had gotten a 4 a.m. wake-up call at the hotel. And it was not a wake-up call that I ordered. So, yes, thanks, Rob. Thanks, Rob. So, yeah, after I made the most of it. Let me just say that. And I think you guys saw that. I made the most of it, made the most of my early hour. Hey, friend, thank you for being here. I'm glad you're asking to join. I am running YouTube and Periscope, so I'm not taking on any live chat right now, but would love to see your comments or questions if you want to join our conversation. So, yes, and then I woke up thinking, feeling like I'm coming down with a cold today, but what was I about to say? Yes, I made the most of it yesterday morning, but it made for an extra special long day, right? And then at the end of the day, I had to drive back home almost 2 hours. So when I got home yesterday, was it like close to 8 p.m.? I ate my dinner and crashed and slept solid till 8 a.m. So I was out. Thank you. No, Sue, they did not apologize because I didn't even tell them. So, hey, Ricky. Hey, friend. Because I know that I'm human and I sometimes make mistakes. I sometimes do some things that right, step on somebody's toes or bump someone at the grocery store. Hey, Wesley. Yeah, so I sometimes make mistakes, and this was a human error. And so I extended the same grace to this person as I appreciate when people give me grace when I make mistakes. Hey, Sharon. Thank you, Wesley. I'm glad you enjoy my silliness. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, friend. I appreciate it, and I see every time you retweet my Periscope feed, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. So, oh, I'm so nice. Well, yeah, I try to be nice, right? It's like and this is right, been training. This has been a long time coming. So let me just say that here. It wasn't always this easy. Wasn't always this easy. And I also was reflecting, when I make mistakes, and someone, right, is upset with me about it, which is hard sometimes, right? But the thing is, I know I usually beat myself up for making mistakes. Like, I make it much worse than anybody out here telling me or reminding me that I made a mistake. So, so I actually didn't take much thought. The first thing that, of course, came up to my mind, since I didn't expect a 4 a.m. call, was that, oh my God, something's happened. My kids or my family, they're trying to get a hold of me, and there's an accident or something. So I immediately grabbed my phone, and it's like, no, everything's good. My phone still works and set to wake me up at 6, 2 hours later. Nope, nobody's tried to call or text. So I eliminated that knee-jerk reaction as a parent or, family. It's like, okay, is everything okay? And then I just like, no, just going to move on quickly. And since we're talking about, we're going to talk about responsibility today and some of our choices. I realized that if I would start my day being upset and like angry or frustrated, that would set the tone for the rest of my day. And I had a really big day ahead of me, right? I needed all my energy to focus on what I was going to be teaching and to stand up and speak and train and engage and interact with people. So I'm like, no, I don't want anything of my precious energy to go to waste, to go into worrying about this or being resentful or upset that here was the person who made a mistake. So hence, I just meditated, I journaled, I had some extra time to do some stretching that morning, which, most mornings when I'm traveling, yeah, I do meditate. I do always say my gratitude practice. But so I actually, knowing that I was going to be standing most of the day, I got to do some back stretches, leg stretches. So it was a win-win. So anyways, but like I said, this person over here, work in progress, not perfect all the time, but I caught myself that morning. And it was a good reminder for myself that, yeah, I can make these choices. And I think it was a good learning experience because I've shared it with a few people, and we sometimes forget that we can make those choices, right? Let's see. I look at if it was a mistake, not intentional, forgive and move on for your own well-being. Love that. I would have gone back to sleep. I hear you, Ricky. I thought about going back to sleep, but my brain, when you sleep somewhere else, or at least that's how I am when I'm traveling, sleeping in a hotel, foreign place, I'm always like, I almost feel like I never really fall asleep, deep sleep. But my brain was already on alert, and I thought about it. It's like, I wonder if I could fall asleep again, but I couldn't. And so I was like, okay, I'm up. What are we going to do? So yes, exactly. For my own well-being. That's exactly it. I was not focused about, what the person. I was just like, I'm going to choose how I want to respond to what's happening. That's where the power of our choices is and lies, right? So the topic of today, thanks for letting me vent and right? But I've been a slow moving train today. Took it very slow today. And that's something that I've learned with age, is to have some grace and know not to book things back to back, days after another, especially when I have to do those long training days. But so we all, I hope, get wiser as we get older. So, all right. The secret power of perspective. Yes. Yes. And the secret power, Rob says here, the secret power of perspective, and the secret power of that perspective, right? Once we can take a deep breath, because in the moment, we often, especially when we have trauma or tense bodies or, right, all that, when we just, our knee-jerk reaction, our automatic response is just to fly into how we would have responded in the past, right? But now when we practice perhaps some mindfulness, being present in the moment, let's do a little reality check. I'm safe. I'm okay right here, right now. No harm done. All right. How do I want to respond? What story am I going to invest in? What story am I telling, right? So, but today, let's see, I'm going to set up our conversation here. Our happiness is our responsibility. It is something that comes with our choices. What we choose to spend our time on, who we choose to spend our time with, what we allow ourselves to think and believe about who we are, and the actions of self-care we take to keep ourselves happy and healthy. Hey, Angel, you're welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Yes, it's a full moon today. So hang on. We're almost through it. Actually almost saw a car accident on our street, just looking out the window. So I'm like, okay, it's better go slow today. It's full moon. It's the last full moon of the year. So hang in there. Yes, exactly. Hang in there. So just, I don't know about you, but full moon, new moon, pull on my chain. So I try to be mindful of those days. If it's judgmental, knee-jerk, it is nearly always worth discarding for a more mindful response. Yes, Rob. Absolutely. Absolutely, Rob. And the key here, right, as you said, it's like if we recognize that we are doing it, like, okay, this is a knee-jerk reaction, and here I'm judging or assuming, right? Which is often an automatic response. You know, our body does it so quickly. It decides immediately what's happening. And like I said, we are hypersensitive to that if we have trauma in our past. So to understand how that's how we're wired, that's how we learn to be this way. So to give ourselves some time and kindness and some grace to help this sweet, sweet body to calm us down a little bit so we can get back online to the part of our brain that can help us with reasoning and better, decisions. Wonder if full moon affected our general election. I haven't even looked at the news today, Sue. Elisa was telling me, I talked to her earlier, that she had heard something about your election. So, but we are not going to talk politics. This is a politics-free zone. So maybe I'll go look it up later. So back to our responsibility. Your only responsibility is to do what is healthy for you. That means surrounding yourself with good people who validate your worth, that understand you and support your healing journey. They're the only ones who can cheer you up, cheer you on, and say the things that you need to hear. Hey, Tony. To hear the things you need to hear most over and over again. Best of all, they mean those things. They do care. I know you, Sue. You're being mischievous. So the two questions that I asked in our Facebook group today, see here. How many good people are in your inner circle of friends, and how can you deepen your relationships with them, perhaps this week? And how many toxic people are in your inner circle of friends or family? And why are they still there? I know these are hard questions, right? Yep. But it's something for us to take a look at, right? Because for a long time, I seemed to hang out with all the wrong people, right? I kept setting myself up for disappointment, for hurt, even abuse from friends, even work situations that were not helpful or supportive. So once we start our healing journey and recognize, right, some of the things, the thoughts about ourselves, the beliefs that we took on about ourselves as children, and how, those set the tone for how we continue to live our lives, or how some people that we continue, or there's certain behaviors that we still continue or allow in our circle of influence, until one day we realize, hey, wait a minute. I don't even treat myself that way. I don't talk to myself this way, right? Why is it always me chasing this person for something? Why am I the only one making an effort here in this friendship? Is this about politics or energy? We are talking about healing and recovery after trauma. So thank you for asking. Any questions about trauma and recovery? We welcome that here. I got the live stream going on YouTube. I'm doing my best to navigate two conversations, but we welcome questions and comments about trauma and healing. So, and I'm scrolling down here. Wanda shared with us, let's see here before I do. There you go. Rob says, I know I'm all over the place today, my friends. Rob says here, it's my empathy safety valve that says, whoa, perhaps there's another reason they did that. Yes, I understand, Rob. I understand. And it's so important, right, that we extend courtesy, or give people the benefit of the doubt, because yes, I've made lots of mistakes as a human, not been perfect a lot, actually hardly ever. And so it's so nice when someone is understanding and flexible or supportive, or, right? So good for you, Rob. Good for you. So back to Wanda, her comments to those two questions. She says, my inner circle consists of a few close friends and even fewer. I'll come right back to you, Parker. And fewer family members. I will continue to show up as myself in all my imperfections, and confidence that they are genuine in their display of love and support of and to me. As far as toxic people in my inner circle, there are none, unless you count my inner critic. I liked that, Wanda, right? And it's still there because my body is recognizing the change in my ability to be vulnerable and operating from the memory of trauma. But I'm learning how to unlearn that fight, flight, or freeze response. Hey, Parker, just give me a few minutes and I'm happy to answer your question. Yep. You can also come back and watch it on the recording if that works better for you. So that is awesome awareness, Wanda, right? That yes, in your inner circle is your inner critic, right? And remember, inner critic / sometimes the ego, right? It's here for a reason, right? It's here for a reason. It's how we kind of interact with the outside world, right? And the part of us that kind of creates the story about who we are and how we should behave, how we should get in line, and right. But it's when that inner critic, right, it's toxic because it is brutal in its guidance, right? Guidance, encouragement, or support, where instead of helping us separate our behaviors or the things that we're doing, it attacks the self. And that's when it becomes toxic, and that's actually when it's the part of us that sets off the fight, flight, or freeze response. So brilliant work, my friend, to become aware of the voice of the inner critic. Notice the words and the tone and how you feel, right? And sometimes if we don't hear the words and we don't hear the tone, but we feel crappy, it's like, wait a minute, I just made a mistake. And instead of being kind to myself, the inner critic is like being brutal over here, reminding me of all my faults, all the ways that I've made mistakes in the past, and thinking that I'm never going to get past it, that I better not rock the boat. I better not, want to set a goal for myself or think I'm going to move on or change or be better or different or whatever. I get it. Yes, Wanda, I get it. So exactly. And as you are unlearning that fight, flight, or freeze response, you are building resilience. You are building resilience, your capacity to stretch and come back, right? Stretch is that's that post-trauma growth. So when things happen, you have, right, worked within that range of fight, flight, or freeze. You understand why it's happening. You help remind your body, it's okay. I'm right here. I got you. We are safe. No, okay, critic, you can go away. I got this. No, I didn't make it, right? Then you can make some different choices. I know it's exhausting sometimes, though. It is exhausting sometimes, though. I know. It gets easier, my friend. It gets easier. And again, just going back to the example that I gave you guys about earlier about how I responded to this accidental wake-up call, right? Is that I knew I stopped myself also because I knew it would exhaust me. The fight, the inner battle, they're wrong, I'm right. They made a mistake, I better tell them. That battle inside of us is exhausting. So the more we realize the battle we're fighting and what makes us tired isn't always so much about what's happening here, but it's how, right, what's going on inside here. And the more we say, okay, all right, deep breaths, right here, right now, right here, right now. Sometimes one breath at a time. And literally, because I know that kind of high level stress long-term is toxic for our bodies, literally toxic. And I am fighting the good battle to, I say a battle, taking it into the battle terms again, but learning to be my time, my energy, no, I'm going to be kind, because when I'm kind, I reap the benefits of that. So, Ricky says here, what about when a family member criticizes you to someone else and you hear about it afterwards? Forgive them. Well, Ricky. Oh, good for you, Wanda. Good for you, Wanda. What about, Ricky again said, what about when a family member criticizes you to someone else and you hear about it afterwards? Well, let me turn it to you guys. What thoughts do you guys have about that? What do we do when someone says something about you to someone else? How do we respond? So I would love to hear your thoughts on that, guys. So, Ricky, I'm going to give them a minute to respond. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up Parker asked the question here on Periscope, and I want to scroll down. He says, I have a question. My daughter passed away when I was 19 and she was 5 months. Oh, Parker, I'm so sorry. This was 14 years ago. What are the signs of trauma? Maybe I haven't gotten over it. I don't know. Well, Parker, are you still here? First of all, I am very, very sorry to hear about your loss. And as a parent, I cannot even imagine the pain of losing a child. So I just really want my heartfelt sympathies and validate you for the grief that you must have felt for your loss. Yes. Yes. But symptoms of grief can be tricky. So it would be, trauma is considered, when we're overwhelmed a lot. What overwhelms our capacity to do our lives, right? If we're overwhelmed with our feelings, if we're overwhelmed with depression, if we're overwhelmed, basically something happens that overwhelms our the things that we usually do to take care of ourselves when things are hard, and we just go kind of into shutdown, right? And sometimes if it's painful enough, we literally freeze or disconnect, and we can stay kind of frozen or numb for a long time until we find a way to reconnect and find the support that we need. And I guess my biggest question, you said if you have not gotten over it, is, I hope you had some support around grieving, around feeling your feelings, because I'm sure that hurt was very, very deep. So if you're still here, Parker, let me know. But again, I am so sorry to hear about that loss. And grief is very hard to process. It kind of comes and goes in waves. And there's few people here in this space that have been and are still going through grief. So be gentle with yourself. But it would be great if you have some symptoms that you would like to share or to ask about. Hey, Parker. And just the fact, I'd like to suggest that maybe just the fact that you're thinking about it and are curious about it, that to me says that there possibly is. So, if you can find someone to work with, to even just have a few counseling sessions or see a coach or be a part of a grief group where you get to, share what's coming up for you. I think it's very normal that kind of at different stages in our lives that we reflect on the past and past hurts, and you're a different person today. So maybe there is something that wasn't processed in the past that you feel like is, you've had maybe a new realization for yourself. And it isn't a bad thing. It's just you are honoring, her, your child, by feeling your feelings about it. I have trouble communicating about my feelings. I hear you, friend. I hear you. Most people do. Most people have trouble communicating our feelings. So I can speak for myself and a handful of people here on the YouTube channel. We've had to learn. We've had to learn again. And some of us for the first time, how to safely express our emotions, because it's so important. So important, especially grief, because grief is so weighted. It's hard. It's a lot of weight. And so being able to tap into your tears, letting the tears come, letting the hurt come and out, that's actually you honoring the truth about, how important she was to you and your relationship. So I do help people with getting in touch with their feelings. If you're looking for support, feel free to reach out to me privately through my website, or if you find me on Facebook. But definitely something that I help people with is to get in touch with their feelings and how to safely express their emotions. So few people have shared, it's like, oh, Svava, you're teaching me how to cry. If you hang out with me, I'm crying all the time. Good tears, sad tears, anything in between. Our emotions are the most real, authentic part of us. So it's so important that we learn to express our feelings. And the truth is, when we repress feelings because something was painful enough that we didn't want to go there, we couldn't maybe even go there, right? It probably happened for a good reason. But what often happens as a result of it, when we shut down all, the bad feelings, we also shut down the good feelings. So often then we end up being kind of numb for a long time until we kind of uncover a little bit what the hurt is about and feel those feelings. And then that, again, gives us capacity and access to the more joyful, healthy, happier, lighter. I don't like to say good or bad feelings, because no feelings are bad. They're all just information coming up. Let's see here, Ricky, I'm going to scroll back to your question. Let's see. I was thinking of just letting it go and not focusing on the negativity. I realize she probably criticizes herself, but it does hurt. Excellent. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. It sucks when someone we know is judging us or talking about us behind our back. Gossip and stuff like that, it's toxic. Don't do it. I will not have any part in that. Ugh. None, right? So I like what you said, and thinking of just letting it go, choosing to not to focus on that negativity, because what happens when we maybe make assumptions, right? He said, she said, or things like that, then our mind, our old story often gets activated and we kind of get drawn into our spin cycle, expecting the worst. So yeah, she probably is very hard on them. People that judge and criticize are very hard on themselves. So yes, acknowledge your hurt, right? Yeah, this hurt. This was not what I expected from this person. And then the next part is that, Ricky, if you want to talk to this person about it and just ask them, if they have something, that they bring it to you, right? That if there's something she'd like to ask about you, because chances are she's making a decision or judgment without all the facts, without knowing the truth. So, and from that place, then you can let it go, because again, she doesn't know you. She doesn't know who you are or why, whatever. And so Hey, Chrisanne. Hey, friend. Just saw that you're here. Good to see you. And again, hello to my Periscope viewers. I got YouTube going on here as well. So I am, for some of the Periscope people say, hey, I don't see the conversation. What's going on? So I'm not going crazy over here. I'm not just talking to myself. So that would be funny. That would be funny. So sounds great, Ricky. They're acting, Chris Ann says they are acting on their own parts that have been criticized. Exactly. And Parker, Ricky is saying here, grief is hard. It's my mother's birthday today, and I'm thinking of her. She passed from cancer. I'm so sorry, Ricky. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. Sorry for your loss. Sorry that you've had a hard day, I'm sure, because of that. Hey, my friend here on, thank you, Ricky. You have a friend over here on Periscope saying, my mother passed as well last year. I understand how you're feeling. Thank you. Thank you, friend. Yes. Loss is hard, right? Grief is hard. So I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for sharing that you're not alone. I hope you're hearing you're not alone. You are not alone, but definitely be gentle with yourself. These are hard feelings. And Parker, Rob over here is saying, man, that was so, yes, Parker, only 19-year-old when you lost your child. Exactly. Wasn't even mature enough to comprehend the situation. Yeah, exactly. You're a different person today. Your body, your mind, your lived experience is very different from when that happened all those years ago. So that's why I think it makes sense that as we mature and go through life, that sometimes these important events in our lives come back to us with an opportunity to revisit, to kind of go deeper, to heal and process. Yes, absolutely. So let me look here. Sue shared with us on the topic today. Sue says, locally, I have very few in my inner circle. As I am healing, I no longer fit in groups where I used to have good friends, and some with whom I was close have drifted away. And sadly, one close friend has passed away and another has proved untrustworthy. I do have one or two other really good friends in the UK, but most of my inner circle are online. I'm grateful that with them, I can safely share my heart and be honest and vulnerable, and I'd be lost without them. There are no toxic people in my inner circle now, as I am very grateful to have strong boundaries. In fact, it may be that at times I'm a little too defensive, but I don't find it easy to trust, and it takes time to build new friendships. Yes, I hear you. Hey, friend, I'm happy to take a look at your question in just a minute. Thank you. I totally understand, Sue. So who else here, right, friends, since they started their healing journey, has lost a few friends? Me. Right? Anybody else? Once we change, right, our values change, how we choose to spend our time, give energy, want to hang out with, be a part of, changes. And I know it's not always easy. And that's why As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of support groups because often we lose. You lost a relationship too. I'm sorry, Ricky. I am sorry. That's right, Sue. She says, and we stop fitting in. Yeah, because we are no longer willing to sacrifice who we are to just try to fit in, right? No, I'm not willing to pretend to be something I'm not just to fit in. Nope. Yes, that is how perhaps we survived, right? That's what we had to do. You know, looking in our family structure or community or circles when we grew up, and we knew, okay, in order for me to be safe in this place, I have to do this dance, or right, or I have to go along with this, or I have to pretend I like this. And I'm willing to do it because I need that for safety right now. But part of healing, right, as we are releasing and reclaiming our authentic self, again, we start to see, nope, that isn't, we no longer see, you know, things eye to eye, or even feel, right, that we have things in common. So all good, eliminating toxic relationships. I hear you, Ricky. I hear you. And I think I've shared with you guys on more than one occasion, I am fiercely protective of my inner circle. It's like there was so much crap and drama and trauma and hurt and dysfunction in my world growing up that I don't have much tolerance, meaning I can sympathize for people having challenges and struggles, but I'm not going to get drawn into that, right? I am not going to be pulled in. So I would much rather have a very few and small circle rather than trying to have lots and lots and lots of friends, because nope, don't have time or energy for that. But it's part of the grieving process as well. We got to let that go. And sometimes, right, it can be a little scary when something or someone has been a part of our world for a long time. So be gentle with yourself. But once we practice having healthy relationship, or relationship that feel better and joyful and energizing and supportive, we practice, then we can go recreate new ones. Let's see here. We had a question. Let me see. I got to scroll up here. Okay, let's see. That girl Slim asked, hey, I'm 18 and I struggle with math really badly because I didn't go to school, but I want my GED. Any advice? So I'm going to turn it over to the tribe. So I hear you. I was never good at math. Never liked math. But there are awesome resources online where you can learn math now. Anybody guys here on the on the YouTube, can you guys give me any websites for hire a tutor? That's one way. But also look into, there's what is it, Khan Academy? Is that the one? Now I have to Google it. There you go. I found it. If you can get a tutor on self-teach via online, see, you're getting all kinds of help here. So khanacademy.org. KHAN. Anybody willing to jump on Periscope for me and put up the link for our friend, khanacademy.org. And we have some teachers in this space. There's here, Sue, find a good tutor if you want to learn. It's possible. I used to teach those who had failed but needed the qualification for college. So thank you, Wanda's on it. She is typing in for us some resources for math tutoring. So you came to the right place, my friend. And Ricky is here too. Awesome. So Wanda, can you type, there you go. I'm here, Svava. Awesome. Thank you, Ricky. Team effort. You got it. We believe in you. You can do this. You can do this. And I want to celebrate you for not giving up. I want to celebrate you for going after your GED because you got this. You got this. So come back and let us know how it goes. But I'm with you. I did not. A lot of it has to do with confidence. Sue said, yes, that makes sense, right? Of course it has to do with confidence. Studypug.com. See, Wanda's on a roll. She's putting in all kinds of suggestions for our friend here. See, this is why we need a community. I taught more psychology than math. Yeah, I bet, Sue. And that's also right. The 1 year I did really well in math in school, it was because I had a great teacher. He was awesome and he made it easy. Like it wasn't a struggle, or I didn't feel embarrassed that I was stupid or broken or everybody was able to do the math but me, right? It's like, exactly. So just like you said, it's all about confidence. Hey, Elizabeth. No, you're not late. Glad you're here, friend. You're glad you're here. Thanks, Wanda. Appreciate it, my friend. She's going to pass her test for sure now. So, on that note, my friends, I want to share a little bit some thoughts about responsibility because it keeps coming up. And so I'm going to share some thoughts, and a lot of this is coming from my Dr. Margaret Paul, who is the creator of the inner bonding, the inner child work, that method, because it's been really, really powerful. And for so many of us, we kind of have to learn to reparent ourselves. And in many ways, there's so many things that we do when we reparent ourselves or become the parent that we didn't have, the parent and the protector. Hey, Tom, no religion. No religion. All is welcome. All are welcome. So, so one of them was, hey, Iris. I think it's Iris. Yes. Is, understanding, like how to get in touch with my feelings. So it was really through my becoming the parent that I needed, and, getting in touch with my wounded inner child, that I created the safety within me to express those feelings. And there was a part of me. Yes, exactly. Yes, Ricky, she's awesome. Love her work. And so, and a part of once I was able to connect with my inner child and that part, and I learned to listen to her, right? Yes, it was scary in the beginning. Yes, it was hard in the beginning, because intuitively, instinctively, I knew that, this part of me had all the hurt, had all the feelings, right? And if I was going to tune into her and listen to her, she probably would bring all that hurt to me. So I avoided repressed, distracted for a long time, like so many of us do, right? And it was a survival strategy, again, because I was not raised by parents or caregivers where and nobody expressed their feelings. If there was a feeling being expressed, it was anger. And if someone expressed anger, someone got hurt. And so in my book, I'm not expressing my feelings because no one's gonna get hurt, right? So this is, again, where support group was healthy and supportive, because I started learning from other people how to have your feelings, right? And then, I also recognize, yes, it is sad, but I'm okay now, Iris. I'm okay now. Is that, for so long, in my childhood and into adulthood, and even a long ways onto my healing journey, I was waiting for someone else to fix me. I was waiting for someone else to rescue me. I was waiting for someone else to make me feel better. I was waiting for someone else to make me happy. And like that little child, right? Still waiting to be rescued. And I didn't realize that inside of me, that little girl was kind of running the show, running that expectation and that story, is that, well, we won't be better or until someone comes and fixes this, right? And that played out in many, many ways, because then she would also kind of take over my life, my body, my interaction in the world. And then it wasn't until I learned to kind of separate myself from her. Okay, I'm here in this grown-up body, and this part of me, this little child, this little girl is part of me. And I was able to determine when she had kind of taken over. But learning to come in touch with my body, I was able to detect where and when and how that would play out, where she would come in. Because often when she would come in, I would also then hand out her hurt to almost hand her to other people to fix. Right. And this is what I did for many, many years in my marriage. It's like, I didn't know what to do with her. I didn't want to heal her. I didn't want to deal with her upset. So I would hand her to my husband to love and to take care of and to make feel better. But even if I was doing that, there was still this gaping wound in my heart that was yet to be filled. So it was like this, always handing the hurt over to someone else, and kind of going, back and forth with this, my inner child. But then it wasn't really until, good, I'm glad this resonates. See, I know I'm not alone. But it wasn't until I really, really understood, right? And this sucks, right? This can be, it doesn't feel, it feels unfair in the beginning. You're welcome. Exactly, Wanda. Hold that thought, Wanda. Hold that thought, my friend, okay? Wanda says here, I don't know what hurts or is harder, wanting someone else to save you or knowing no one is coming, right? No one is coming. And that's it, Wanda. Once I realized I'm a grown-up now, my parents, right? It's too late. It's too late for them to parent me. It's too late for them to come and rescue me. I'm a grown-up, right? And once I learned about inner child work, I realized, but it's not too late for me to save this little child that still lives inside of me. When someone told me that, right, and showed me how and why that was important, most importantly, the why, because it was exactly that hurt, Wanda, that you talk about, that I was like, I was outraged. I was angry. I was so hurt. People hurt me. No one protected me. No one kept me safe. Are you kidding me? I too have to put myself together. I have to pull myself up and figure this out. No one is going to make it better. It's not fair. They hurt me, right? But it's like they can't. And even if they tried, even if they want to, they can't. Because inside of you is a little girl that doesn't trust anybody out here. She doesn't want this love and comfort and nurturing from anybody else. She only wants it from you. Only from you. But the story that we've made up about what happened in the past, we've told ourselves it because we don't matter. That's the story, right, we came up with. But the truth is, it's not true, right? But how can you prove yourself wrong? Hey, Iris, I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays. How we prove that story to be false from our childhood is that we today, yes, I am willing to take responsibility for who I am today. Hey, Harrison. I am willing to take responsibility as an adult for my life, for what's happening inside of me. No one else can. And part of that responsibility was, right, that 6-year-old or 13-year-old or 20-year-old that was in here. Hey, friend, I'm so sorry to hear that. You are not alone. I'm so glad you found me. You're in good company. You're not alone, friend. I had to willing to sit with her, to turn inward, right? Hey, baby girl, I am here now. I am here now. I didn't know that I could connect with you. I didn't know that I could interact and tell you that what they did to you was wrong, what they did to you was bad, but I am here now. I am your parent and your protector now. And in the beginning, right, it's good to have either a picture of ourselves or our inner child, a stuffed animal, outside, or journal. Do a journal back and forth in this dialogue with yourself, to kind of separate, to kind of create that space between you and this wounded part of you. And it was in doing this, helplessness of not being able to take care of is very hard to process. Yes, I understand. I do understand, Ricky. And that's, again, tracking those stories. Tracking your stories. Like, where did that story come from? Right? It's like, we understand the hurt. And once we can start to comfort ourselves with our hurt, we have the capacity to look beyond the hurt, and we see we were parented by broken people, by traumatized people that didn't have it to give, that had nothing to give. So it doesn't make it okay, but it makes sense. It wasn't because you were bad that something happened. No, these people were traumatized. They had nothing to give. And for many, it's a multicultural, multi-generational issue. So this all to say, right, that sometimes our reluctance in taking responsibility for ourselves, our reluctance in being fully here for ourselves, we think it's a burden, right? We hear responsibility as a blame. We hear responsibility as a burden. But again, once I realized that instead of handing my wounded heart to someone else, will you love me? Will you take care of me? Will you make my hurt better? right? My inner child was like, stop giving me to other people. You are abandoning me. You are rejecting me every time you hand me to other people. Can't you love me? Can you take care of me? Can you provide for me? And once I realized, wait, it's actually easier, right? My little girl trusts me more than people out here. So I hear this a lot, right? When we talk about, responsibility falls on us. Yes. Yes. And here's the thing, right? It actually, right, then it then gives us freedom. And when we take responsibility for ourselves, we're also stepping into the authority of being the authority over your own life. So I could go deeper in this, but I know we've gone over a little bit our hour. But if we think about it, if you've had a child or have a child, if whenever that child needed something, and these are our feelings too, very much of this is our feelings or emotions. And every time your child needed something, instead of turning to the child and take care of it, you would run out into the street or find other people to take care of that child. That's way harder work, right? You have to figure out and make sure this person is safe, or, are you sure you can do this? It's like that feels like a burden. So it's more empowering. It gives you more freedom. It gives you more autonomy and authority when we learn to do this for ourselves. Make sense? When you grow up surrounded by unspoken feelings, you don't know that other people feel the same deep hurt inside. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Good. Awesome. Thank you, Harrison. So when I take the responsibility for trusting my feelings, for trusting my body, and again, when we have trauma, when we have complex trauma, we disconnect. We avoid feeling. It's not safe to feel. I understand. I do understand that. But to understand, to coming back into our learning ever so slowly, right? Ever so slowly to come back to our bodies so we can take full responsibility. What am I feeling? What am I feeling right here and right now? And if it feels too much, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to reach out for support, or I'm going to call in, God, spirit, universe, or ask Mother Earth to hold me, because this just feels like a really, really deep and big hurt. Right? Because once I can train, literally build resilience in my capacity to feel, then the feelings that need to come through to process all that old hurt, all that old anguish and anger and shame. And once I can hold myself, woo, oh my goodness, this stuff is just coming through and coming through and coming through and coming through. And with it, a lot of tears, a lot of tears, a lot of tears. Tears are your truth. Tears are your grace. We can do this, friends. We can do this. So, responsibility. Choose. Responsibility is freedom. And sometimes when we can't take responsibilities because we don't know how, because we haven't learned the steps. So when we reparent ourselves, when we help ourselves through the developmental stages that we didn't go through as children, we, are taking authority and full responsibility for ourselves, our hurt, and also then our peace and our joy and our connection and our choices. So let's see here. Wanda says, Svava, years of shutting down or quitting therapy when inner child work started. How do I convince my inner child I won't abandon her this time? You do it by, you keep telling her and you keep doing it. And that's the thing, sweet Wanda, right? I had to really commit to my relationship, to my inner child. And I would tell her, I am scared. I don't know how to do this. I am afraid, but I am here and I'm learning to be with you. I want to be with you. I want to learn to sit with you. I'm doing my best, but this is scary. If you lead with the truth, because she's in there. She can already feel you. She already knows. So if you can put to words what you're really feeling, she will trust you. And you do your best to keep your word with her. But the truth is, she has a powerful story about being abandoned. So no matter how many months or how many moons it's going to take, Wanda, I know you're not going to give up on her. And my favorite saying that, finally kind of clicked for me once I was healing my own inner child is that no matter what you say or do, I will never stop loving you. I had to tell her that over and over and over again and continue to show up. To sit with my 6-year-old photo, to sit with my teddy bear, let her sleep with me, go through the action of loving, caring for her so she would feel it. So I believe in you, Wanda. I believe in you. When I say no to something I don't want, I think my inner child is relieved. Yes, Elizabeth. Of course. Of course. She's in there. Please don't do this. We don't want to do this. Please don't do this. We don't want to do this, right? And again, that comes with practice. It's all practice, my friends. And I want to celebrate you guys for being here, for showing up, right? This is it. This is you reclaiming your life, your body, right? Your energy, your choices. This is it, my friends. Not fun or pretty, but I will love my inner child relentlessly. Amen, Ricky. Absolutely. I am relentless. Absolutely. And that's exactly how I have healed so much of my hurt. So much of my hurt. All the energy that I used to survive, right? Just to make it through. I am slowly, right? I slowly learned to just turn that same relentless energy in learning how to love me. Love all the parts of me. All of them. Especially the ones that thought that they were too bad or too shameful to be seen or heard or to accepted. So, all right. I'll step off my soapbox. I'm done. I hope that was helpful, insightful, my friends. I'm pretty passionate about this and really want to hope to put some of the pieces together for you guys. Yes, we can heal. Yes, we can restore. Yes, it is hard work, hard heart work. Yes, it sucks at times. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So again, I held up my book earlier. If you're just joining us and are curious to join our conversation, my books are available on Amazon or Kindle. SvavaBrooks.com is my website. And I also have a closed Facebook group for our community if you'd like to learn more about it. And join us. We would love to have you because The healing and the transformation I've seen in this space over the last couple of years has been amazing. Amazing. So it's co-created for sure, for sure. All right, sweet friends, I will be back here next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for the love and support that you give to each other and this community. Much appreciated. Go do something fun this weekend. I'm going to go see Nora this weekend. She's coming into town for a couple of days, and I'm so excited to get to meet up with her. Until then, be kind to yourselves, my friends. Much love to you all. See you next time.